Hi, I'm Jonathan,
And I'm Beth.
and together we're D&D Duet. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to not talk to yourself while you're role-playing in a duet game. That's one of the questions that we get pretty frequently is how do we navigate having multiple people in a social encounter, and how do we lean on that wonderful role-playing pillar without acting like a crazy person and just talking to yourself.
Mm-hmm. And so this can be a problem if you as a player have a sidekick character and the two of you are trying to figure something out and you're in charge of the sidekick's RP. It can also be a problem if your DM is playing multiple characters and trying to navigate those characters at once, potentially having a conversation. One thing you can do as a player to make this easier for your DM is to let them know who you want to speak to, assuming that your DM is playing other people in the party, or if you're interacting with lots of different people, you're still letting them know who you want to speak to at a given time. So as the character, I might say, hey, can I talk to Tybalt? And then I would have a conversation with Tybalt, and then at the end of that conversation say, all right, thanks, I want to go talk to Jorgen now. Do I see him? Something along those lines to kind of help transition. And that's one of the spaces where having a voice as a character makes it a little bit easier for you to switch in and out of who you as a person are and then who your character is. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, that's okay too. But that might be something to work up towards. Another thing that you can do as a player, if you are maybe playing a little bit more of an introverted type of character who wouldn't normally be speaking, that is one of the problems we ran into a lot at the beginning, and so we just kind of had to have either my character speak up for the group even though that's not necessarily what she would have done, or I would take on one of our other party members or have them help. And so you can always have a character take the help action or something like that, so you would roll with advantage. And so I might have my character speaking to a delegate or something like that, and then one of the other characters would help me do that, and so I could make my persuasion roll with advantage.
Building off of what Beth was saying about having the main character be the one doing the talking and taking the action, if you can build that in as a DM into the party, that there are reasons for the sidekicks or the DM PCs to kind of defer to the character and ultimately leave it up to them, then your duet is going to work much better. For example, in our game, Beth's main character is named Eliath and has a noble background, and my DMPC Marcon is from a different time, and so he's unfamiliar with the local customs and things like that. And while he's very much more experienced than Eliath, he defers to her in most social interactions because she actually knows what's going on in this time. We thought we'd take a second to model what that looks like with two people playing multiple characters and still ultimately leaving it up to the primary character to make the important decisions. In our Curse of Strahd revamp, recently our heroes have explored the werewolf den, overthrown the evil werewolf there, and are deciding what to do next. And so in our game, as we open Braceras, the main character, and her two friends, my DMPCs, Tybalt, a cleric, and Jorgen, a warlock, are deciding what to do next. So here's what that looks like.
Morning.
Morning.
We were talking about our werewolf dreams and making plans for Barisov.
Barisov next, and then back to...
I think back to St. Sebastian.
That makes sense to me.
Is there anything particular you want to do in the city?
I'd be curious to see if there's a church. See what kind of religion holds sway in these accursed lands.
Mm-hmm. Was it Oh, Ismark told us that it's the largest city here. I'm interested to hear what they think is happening in the other cities. We have that little girl that we need to take back, and then this little boy who's also been bitten by werewolves, who doesn't want to stay here. So
Jorgen's gonna lean forward and say, "Is that really our responsibility? Can't we just let him figure it out?"
He's 8? Maybe? I don't know. It's not full height yet.
I think we should leave him behind. We are not going to be traveling with this dangerous 8-year-old. They can control him here. They can teach him or something. Maybe.
So, what do you think?
Tybalt's gonna say, Tybalt leans forward and he says, I think as much as possible he deserves say over his situation, but
it's our fault his home's burnt down.
okay. You wanna take him then? Just don't like kids.
I'm not saying I do either, but we're trying to get cured. It makes sense for him to try to get cured as well. Otherwise, he stays a werewolf forever. He's not going to be under control, but neither are we. So we have 13 days, counting today, till we transform. So if they need to lock us away, they lock us away, and him too. We find out if werewolves fight or not.
I'm not going to be put under lock and key.
You are if you're a werewolf.
I think that I would just step through the ethereal plane and
I don't think you get to just do that if you're a werewolf.
I guess we'll have to find out.
I think Tila's going to not be there to help you do that as a werewolf. You're not going to be in your right mind.
So Tila appears out of Jorgen, kind of ghostly, sitting beside him. Yeah, I'm not about it. She crosses her arms, looks impetuous a little bit. Jorgen's like, what? Come on. I've made up my mind. And she kind of pours back into Jorgen.
There you go.
Puts his head down. Tybalt's gonna say, it sounds like we need to make haste.
I think so. I'd like to speak to Ismark again before we go, just to find out if he can tell us anything else or a place to look forward to go in the city. But otherwise, and we need to talk to that kid again, and then I think we can go.
And Jorgen kind of head in his hands a little bit, like looks up very dramatically. Very well. It'll be nice to get back to some semblance of civilization.
The wilderness is still not suiting you very well.
I just think it is infinitely more interesting to be surrounded by people and things than to be surrounded by trees. There seems to be a preponderance of trees in this region.
You're so silly.
Thank you. I hope that short demonstration modeled and clarified some of the things that we've been talking about. I think the big takeaways are to kind of project who you want to be speaking to, and it's a really good idea to develop a couple of voices, throw them in your back pocket to differentiate between who's talking and who's listening.
So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below. We'll have a link in the notes for a blog post where we talk about roleplay in more detail, and you can also find lots of other mechanics and different ideas, as well as some one-on-one adventures on our blog. So all of that will be in the notes. And please leave any questions that you have for us in the comments, as well as any other videos that you would like to see. Thanks so much.
Thank you.